I mean, I definitely have a background in the arts, so that was certainly helpful with writing toe to toe. And I did ballet as a kid, as I think many of us did. But I didn't have like a huge background of dance in particular. So honestly, like the most helpful research, I mean, I read a lot of ballet dancers' autobiographies, which was very helpful. But really one of the most helpful things for me in terms of research for toe to toe was TikTok, because you have just a ton of professional dancers who will post videos of like, here's a day in my life, and here's, my workout schedule, and here's what I eat in a day. And so those things were like really actually very beneficial, which again, I love that scrolling TikTok gets to be part of my job. That's always a very nice excuse to be scrolling on the internet. But it was really interesting to sort of see the breakdown of like, what a professional dancer does throughout their day, and what that sort of looked like. And so that one was really fun. But yeah, I love toe to toe. I um, grew up watching Center Stage. I was absolutely obsessed with that movie when I was younger. So this one has a lot of those moments and influences in it. But Allegra is just, I think, a very sort of like what we think of as like a stereotypical ballerina, where she is very focused on her job. She wants to get promoted. She, has been working for this her whole life. And sort of not getting those opportunities that she really wants. And so when she has this chance to audition for this new piece, she hires Cord to help her. And Cord has created basically like his own version of Magic Mike. And he is very successful with that. And so he is going to sort of tutor her and give her some lessons to help her prepare for this audition. And again, I think they're two people that have very different philosophies in life. And Cord has a background with ballet that is not super positive. And ballet has a long history of being kind of a toxic environment. And so a lot of that was drawn from real life stories. And so watching them kind of come together and figure out their own individual issues, and then also, how they can come together was a lot of fun. Forced proximity is a huge, trope in romance, and I think you could argue that forced proximity plays into every romance, because if they're not forced to be together in some way, why, what is the book? But dance lessons in particular as your sort of vehicle for forced proximity is really interesting, because you are doing a lot of physical, it's not just forced proximity. We have to work in an office together and, sit across the desk and have these conversations. It's, lots of touching and closeness. And we're really like in each other's space. Literally a lot of times. And so I think that obviously ramps up the tension, and that tension as a romance author is, I think, the most important thing that you're trying to get across on the page is, you want that tension to come across to the reader as they are reading your book. So you get an added layer there.